Welcome back to the channel, Valuable Coins HD Decades. They see a big 50-cent piece with the familiar profile of President John F. Kennedy, and without thinking much about it, they toss it aside or drop it back in with the rest of the change. What they may not realize is that a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with the right mint mark, perfect preservation, or a unique minting characteristic can become a treasure that transforms an ordinary coin into something of serious value. The Kennedy half-dollar has always carried emotional weight because it was created just months after the tragic assassination of President Kennedy in 1963. Americans of that era held on to the early issues as keepsakes and symbols of national memory. But by the time 1973 came around, most people saw the coin as just another piece of circulating money, even though its design still honored one of the most iconic presidents in history. The obverse bears Kennedy's striking portrait, and the reverse features the powerful presidential coat of arms, an eagle clutching olive branches and arrows, surrounded by a ring of stars. The design might look familiar, but beneath that surface is a world full of variation and rarity. Several different mints produced Kennedy half-dollars in 1973, including the Philadelphia Mint with no visible mark, the Denver Mint with its celebrated D, and the San Francisco Mint, which issued both circulation-style proofs and special collector strikes with the S mint mark. While many coins were made, only a tiny fraction survived without scratches, nicks, bag marks, or circulation wear. Those that still glimmer today with brilliant luster, crisp lines in Kennedy's hair and jaw, and deeply struck details on the eagle can command attention from experienced collectors. The difference between a common pocket piece and a numismatic prize can come down to condition, sharpness, and originality. Collectors often say that the Kennedy half-dollar series hides surprises in plain sight. Even small differences in strike, surface preservation, and mint mark placement can send value soaring. Proof coins with flawless mirrored fields and frosted devices, or coins that earned high grades from professional certification services, attract spirited bidding. Some 1973 examples display cameo or deep cameo contrasts on both sides, where the raised design appears frosted and the background mirrors shine like glass. Features like that turn a coin from routine to remarkable. Then there are the mint errors and varieties that create even more excitement. Off-center strikes, double dies, repunched mint marks, clipped planchets, and improperly annealed planchets can all change the fate of a half-dollar. A small misalignment or a dramatic doubling of lettering under magnification can transform a coin's desirability overnight. Collectors also hunt for sharp details on Kennedy's bust, the lettering around the perimeter, the feathers on the eagle's wings, and the clarity of the shield and arrows. Every subtle detail matters. A coin that looks ordinary to someone unfamiliar with grading might be a jaw-dropping discovery to someone who knows how to judge luster, strike, and originality. Stories often emerge about people discovering these coins in inherited collections, old dresser drawers, safety deposit boxes, or at estate sales. Sometimes they appear in coin rolls obtained from banks or in forgotten albums assembled decades ago and abandoned in attics or basements. The thrill comes when someone takes a closer look and realizes they've been holding onto something far rarer than they imagined. A 1973 Kennedy half-dollar can appear almost new, with vibrant shine and perfect rims, or it can carry unusual traits placed there entirely by chance at the time of manufacture. As time passes and more collectors focus on this series, the finest examples continue to break expectations. A high-grade specimen with the right mint mark and dazzling eye appeal becomes more than a coin. It becomes a centerpiece of a collection, a conversation piece, a historic artifact, and possibly a record-setting investment. Auction houses love coins like these, especially when they come graded at the highest level or feature a notable variety. Once a certified example enters the market, competition begins and veterans of the hobby know how fast prices can climb. Even though millions of Kennedy halves were created over the decades, each year and each mint tells a different story. The 1973 issues stand out because so many were overlooked and spent, meaning truly high-quality survivors grew scarcer over time. The metal composition, sharpness of strike, finish quality, and historical context all contribute to why collectors chase them. Some people remember using these coins in vending machines or receiving them as tips or change at restaurants and diners, never realizing that untouched survivors would one day become some of the most desirable pieces in modern American coinage. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it might be hiding a fortune? Today we're diving into one of the most iconic and collectible coins in American history, the United States Kennedy half-dollar dated 1776 to 1976, the special bicentennial edition that millions of people overlook every single day. This coin wasn't just made for spending, it was minted to honor 200 years of American independence, and it carries a legacy, a story, and in some rare cases a life-changing value that most people don't even realize. Now imagine searching through your old coin jar, your grandparents' drawers, the change you get back from the store, or that pile you've tucked away for years, because somewhere among those halves might be a coin that collectors are still hunting for with excitement and intensity. The bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar is unique because instead of the usual reverse design, it features Independence Hall in Philadelphia along with the dual date 1776 to 1976 right under the portrait of John F. Kennedy. On the front, these coins were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco with different mint marks like no mint mark for Philadelphia, the letter D for Denver, and the letter S for San Francisco. While millions of these coins were produced for circulation, only a tiny fraction hold the kind of value that makes collectors go wild. What makes the difference? It could be a minting error, a high-grade condition, a special strike like a proof coin, or one made in silver instead of clad. Those details can mean the difference between 50 cents and a coin worth thousands. When you look closely at a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar, check for sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, full strike features, and any unusual marks or doubling. Some coins were minted in 40% silver, especially from the San Francisco Mint in special collector sets. These silver bicentennial halves are already more desirable, but when one of them survives in pristine condition graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, that's when the value skyrockets. And don't forget errors. There are known varieties with off-center strikes, die cracks, weak strikes, double dies, and planchet issues. Collectors crave these oddities because their rarity sets them apart from the massive mintage numbers. Think about the condition too. A circulated coin with scratches, wear and dull surfaces is neat to keep but not the star of the show. A coin that was never spent and kept untouched from the day it left the mint can shine like a mirror. Proof coins with the S mint mark often have that frosted portrait look and a glossy background. If you stumble on one of these in perfect shape or still sealed in original packaging, you could be looking at something truly valuable and worth grading. Picture someone sorting through loose change and spotting a bicentennial half with bright luster and perfect detail. At first glance it's just pocket change, but after grading and discovery of a rare variance or flawless condition, the value can shock anyone. Auction houses have seen intense bidding wars over top-grade pieces. Collectors from around the world are willing to pay high prices for that one standout coin that completes their collection or represents an ultra-rare find. Don't assume that because this coin is common in appearance that yours holds no value. Many people have found treasure in the most unexpected places: a coffee can in the attic, a leftover coin folder, inherited coin rolls from old estates, or change jars forgotten for decades. That's where gems hide. Even silver proofs can end up mixed into circulation. You might see the drum on the back and think nothing of it until closer inspection reveals it's not the everyday version. Always check for the mint mark under Kennedy's neck and pay attention to the edges. Whether it has a copper-clad look or a uniform silver edge, every clue matters. Collectors love the history behind this coin, minted to honor America's bicentennial with a design that stood out from every other half-dollar before and after. The artistry and patriotic theme give it lasting appeal beyond just face value. But it's the rare combinations of minting, condition, and errors that elevate specific coins to high prices. So many people watch videos like this and immediately start checking their savings jars, bank rolls, safe deposit boxes, or coin albums from childhood collections. And that's exactly what you should do if you haven't already, because any one of those coins could be holding a surprise you never expected. As you go through your coins, look especially for San Francisco issues marked with an S, proof finishes with mirror backgrounds, silver weight, or anything that looks different in shine or strike. Even small things like a missing detail in the lettering, extra thickness in the numbers or a faint doubling of the date can bump up the value. And it always helps to protect and store any promising coin. Using holders, flips or airtight cases keeps them safe from damage and preserves their potential. The 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is one of those coins that millions have seen but very few have truly inspected closely. So much value hides in plain sight and many people unknowingly spend collectible coins at face value. If you're passionate about coin hunting or you're just curious about what treasures you might already own, this coin is one you absolutely need to check. Because the right one can make a massive difference and change your view of pocket change forever. Have you ever stopped to wonder if a simple coin sitting in your house could change your life? Most people overlook the Kennedy half-dollar unless they're already a collector, but there's something incredibly special about the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from 1972. This is one of those coins that hides in plain sight, dropped in drawers, old jars, inherited collections, coin rolls from the bank and forgotten boxes in attics. The story of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar begins during a time when the United States had transitioned away from silver coinage for circulation, yet the legacy of the design still carried immense pride. Even though most people saw it as just pocket change, some of these coins today are the kind of pieces that collectors dream about, especially when they come from specific mint marks, are in exceptional condition or carry rare errors that almost nobody recognizes at first glance. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, and the reverse displays the presidential seal with the eagle, shield and olive branch, symbols of strength and peace. In 1972, the coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a D and the San Francisco Mint with an S, which often indicates a proof strike or a special collector version. But what makes certain 1972 halves unbelievable in value isn't just where they were minted, it's the combination of rarity, grade, strike quality, errors, condition, and how the coin has survived over 50 years. Some collectors specifically look for full strike details, strong luster, deep cameo proofs, double dies, off-center hits, missing letters, planchet mistakes, clipped edges and coins preserved so perfectly they look like they were minted yesterday. Imagine going through your change or opening an old coin book and finding a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that glows with brilliance, free of scratches, dings and wear. A coin with razor-sharp strike lines in Kennedy's hair, full clarity in the lettering and no visible signs of circulation could be worth far beyond what most people realize. While millions of these coins were made, very few have survived in absolute top condition. Take into account that many proof coins with the S mark were sold in sets, and even those can command high prices when graded at the top tier, especially if they carry a special frost contrast or mirror finish. Collectors also hunt for famous varieties. Some 1972 half-dollars show doubling on the lettering or numbers. There are also examples of die errors where details appear misaligned, off-centered or missing completely. Even slight imperfections from the minting process can skyrocket a coin's desirability when combined with a sharp grade. If you ever find one with strong luster, untouched surfaces and no discoloration, it's worth getting it evaluated professionally. The grading scale used by experts ranges upwards toward gem mint states that almost never appear in circulation. Those are the trophies of the coin world. Now think about the fact that coins from this era are still floating around in circulation, stuck in piggy banks, bundled in half-dollar rolls at banks, hiding inside inherited collections, tucked into random drawers by people who never bothered checking. Some of the most valuable finds came from people who didn't even know they had something special until a closer look revealed an extremely rare combination of grade and minting quality. The Kennedy half-dollar series continues to gather interest among numismatists because it represents American history, presidential tribute and transitional coin production all in one. If you are someone who loves the thrill of hunting for hidden treasures, this coin should be high on your list to inspect. Look especially for clean surfaces, deep cameo-proof strikes, bold letters, perfect rims and original shine. If you see that tiny S, D, or notice no mint mark at all, don't underestimate it. Check the condition, use magnification for doubling or errors, and always handle potential gem coins carefully by the edges to avoid fingerprints and damage. Preservation matters more than most people think. A flawless coin is rare not just because of how it was minted but because of how it survived. Auction houses across the country have seen intense competition for the finest known strikes. Even coins that might appear regular to an untrained eye can shock people once graded. Some collectors pay astonishing amounts for the top examples in the population, especially if there are only a handful graded at that elite level. And it's not only proof coins that gain attention. Sometimes a circulation strike with perfect detail and powerful luster can outperform expectations. People have literally made thousands from what started as pocket change finds, and the fascination for Kennedy half dollars has only grown with time. The emotional appeal, the design, the presidential connection and the nostalgia for mid-20th century coins gives them a built-in popularity. But beyond popularity lies true value in rarity and condition. The 1972 year, while not the rarest overall, has specific standout pieces that earn extraordinary prices because only a microscopic fraction meet the perfection or error criteria demanded by serious numismatic buyers. So before you dismiss that half dollar sitting in a box or roll, take another look. If your coin has brilliance, no scratches, no wear, deep cameo frosting, or any sign of minting irregularity, that could be the moment everything changes. The kind of coin that looks ordinary until the right expert sees it and suddenly it becomes the highlight of an auction, the centerpiece of a collection or the treasure that turns curiosity into a payday. Never assume a coin has no value just because it's common in general. The rarest examples hide among the ordinary ones, and only the careful, curious, and lucky ever find them. And to prove that the 1972 Kennedy half dollar can reach unbelievable heights, one extraordinary specimen has sold for $275,000.